Hey, hope you're having a fantastic day. It is officially summer, and I have some of the best fantasy book recs for you to read this summer. Again, this is for somebody if you're into fantasy, but you don't like to read a lot of romance or feel like romance fantasy. But again, you're looking for something a little lighter, a little bit fun. Summer-esque, not super high epic fantasy that we usually, or at least I do. I get into like the wintry months, right? I like more of a lighthearted, fun reads, but still keeping it fantasy in summer. So all of these books I'm about to recommend to you, I've read them all personally. I have loved them all personally, hence why I'm recommending them. There's nothing sponsored about this video. This is just my books that I know and love and enjoy, and I know you would enjoy reading in the summer. So let's just go ahead and get it started with. The first one is The Geographer's Map to Romance. Now this is the second in an interconnected standalone series. You do not have to read the first book, but the first book is still really fun too. But this one is really, it's cute, it's funny, it's silly, kind of goofy, but in the best way possible. So our two main characters, it's kind of like set in like the Victorian era, and our main characters are both, they're obviously geographers, but they're kind of like almost magic storm chasers also, but like in the Victorian era. So you think of like the prim, the proper, everybody has to wear petticoats, all of like the distinguished titles of these gentlemen and things like that, right? Our two main characters were married in kind of like a marriage of convenience kind of thing, and it kind of goes downhill. They weren't really married like for loving each other. It's a total miscommunication trope, but they're both set on going to this like place that a lot of magical stuff is happening, and they're supposed to be there to fix it, and they kind of go on this together. And our main character, I believe her name is Elsie, she's really fun, she's goofy, she's really like chaotic, she's really outspoken, and like our other main character, he's very quiet, reserved, very like on time about all the things. Very, very different characters to be connected together. And of course, since they're married, they don't want to have anything to do with each other and like things like that. And so it's kind of a way of them finding themselves together, like back to themselves, but like they were married for like 2 days before they were like, nope, not gonna do it. It was something along those lines, right? And it's something that's really fun. It's goofy, and again, it's an adventure, and like the way they talk to each other, absolutely hilarious. But the way like they're both dedicated to being a geographer, and like this magical storm that has happened, and it's really fun, it's really enjoyable, it's a quick, easy pace to read, and again, it just gets you laughed out loud, and it's really lighthearted, and that's something really, really fun for summer. Now, the next book is one of my all-time favorite series. You need to absolutely add this to your list, because if you have not read this yet, I am shocked. I would be so shocked. The Bridge Kingdom series. Now this is officially a finished series, but all I would say is, of course, you can read all 6 books. Some of them are a little bit chunkier. You can see my shrine up here, right? But this is, I would for sure, at least read just the first duology, because it's a set of interconnected duologies, but it does all come together, and you do have to read them in order because there is like overlapping characters and overlapping storylines, if that makes sense. But our first duology that I would highly suggest is about Laura. Oh, I want to be her when I grow up. That's all I gotta say about her. I love Laura. So our main character, Laura, she is a princess, and she is wedded off to some unknown dude across the way in a different kingdom to try and save her kingdom, but she's sent there as a spy. So she has been raised up in the middle of nowhere in the desert to pretty much be the super assassin spy lady, right? Like that's all she knows, and she's shipped off, marries this dude, aka the king of Ithacana, Aaron, I believe that's how his name is pronounced, and things kind of ensue from there. She is supposed to pretty much betray Aaron, her new husband, and like get everything together and like send it back to her very terrible human being of a father, right? And so she's kind of torn here. This does have a romance subplot to it, but the twists and turns of the book, absolute chef's kiss. You will be on the floor going, what just happened? And it is so good. And you enjoy yourself along the way. Like you get wrecked, but in the best way possible, if that makes any sense at all. But it's kind of like, it's got pirates kind of sort of thing in it. There's lots of politics in it. And like, there is a bit of a war brewing. And of course, Laura is such a dynamic character, and I love her character. She's one of my all-time favorite female main characters. And I can't say enough good things about this. It's fun, it's fantasy, it's quick-paced, and you enjoy yourself the whole way. Like, this is a book like you could easily read in one sitting because you just want to gobble it up, because you're just like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? And the twists and turns you never ever see coming. And you can't, like, there's no way to expect them. And then the way you're able to then, like, it all gets pieced together towards the end, you're like, oh, I get it now. Like, that's why that happened. And, like, the little things that just have occurred, it's It's so beautiful. Mwah. Again, chef's kiss, read it. Clytemnestra. Now this is for my historical retelling girlies. This one is, I will say, it's slightly harder to get, not necessarily get into, but of course it's historical kind of like retelling, right? There are some hard parts to it, so just be aware of that when you go into this, but this is about Clytemnestra. Clytemnestra is of the ancient Greek world, and she is the sister to Helen of Troy, which I did not realize, and so she marries King Amemnon. I'm always going to say that wrong, I'm sorry. But things happen. This is just her storyline, and it's so interesting. I think this is one better to go into it blind unless you have like a big history geeky kind of person like I am. But this is really good to kind of go in blind to not knowing a whole lot about her, but it just follows her story. She's a sister of Troy, sister to Helen of Troy. So it's kind of her upbringing, like how she ends up being to like coming to be into power, how she becomes a queen, and how she kind of survives being not only through the long war of like the Battle of Troy and things like that, but just being married to King Amemnon and like her things. And she's from a very big warrior nation versus where she goes to, and they're not warriors, they're all prim and proper. And just the things that go through there, and like how she rules and her viewpoints. It's really fun. It's really interesting. I will say some of the chapter breakdowns, just to let you know, this is not like a bad thing, right? But just something to nitpick at it, are kind of annoying because there are quite a few time jumps. But again, to go through her whole span of her life within, like, I think it's less than 400 pages, maybe even 300, right? Like, you kind of have to jump around a little bit, especially if, like, there's nothing happening, like, what is there to say going on in her life? But it's really interesting. I really like her as not only as a character, but the way she's portrayed, I think is really, really well. Of course, I don't know if that's how she actually was in real life, but, like, these events that happened were real. And so everything that kind of happens in this book is very interesting. It's based on real history, but again, with maybe a slight fantastical twist to it, but not like there's not super a lot of heavy magic or anything. It's more of just a retelling of like what happened to her, and it's really cool. It's interesting, really, really great. Highly suggest. City of Brass. Oh, I read this. This is a finished trilogy. I love this trilogy, okay? Like, I feel like I've heard nobody talk about this, and I don't know why, because it is beautiful. Like, the first book, I gave like a 4.5 stars. Second book, about 4.5. Like, that last book, absolute chef's kiss, 6-star book for me. Like, the way it brought it all together, fantastic. So we're in this like 1800s, I believe, maybe 1700s Egypt time. We're currently in Cairo, Egypt, and our main character is just trying to get by, right? Like, she doesn't believe in magic or anything, but she's got some sort of healing ability, and she doesn't really like know all about it yet, right? But she kind of poses as sometimes a shaman, because of course she's really poor and she's just trying to like live, right? And so she ends up invoking a djinn by accident. So a djinn is kind of like a genie, and so that it kind of just goes from there, and it opens her whole eyes to like this whole new world. Like, magic is real, oh my gosh, and like what culture she's a part of, and they just kind of go on this journey together, and it's absolutely incredible. It brings in a lot of like Egyptology, Egyptian background. I think there's some like Turkish stuff in there, and like the way it's all brought together, like it's a whole djinn world that she's brought into, and like her being a part of the magic is so interesting, and it's such depth. There's like the tiniest smidge of romance in this. So if you're looking for romance, this is not for you at all, because like you do not get that at all. This is more plot heavy, but the plot is so good. A little bit of politics in there, but it's more about like almost the mental games that she has to play, and like finding out who she is, and like trying to survive. And like, since she's part of this small world, they're just trying to live by, pretty much a beggar on the street. She's this orphan. Now she's thrown into this magical Din dynasty, and now she's like, what am I supposed to do with myself? But she knows how to survive. And I think that's the greatest part of it. And that's kind of where we follow along with her. I enjoy it. It's a beautiful story. And again, it's not heavy romance at all. Like, it's like the tiniest smidge of romance is thrown in there. This is more of a plot heavy book, but it's good. It's pretty fast paced. And again, Egyptology, I always think of summer, so this is really fun. If you like The Mummy, like the movie The Mummy, I think you'd really like this book series. But I think it's really fun, all of like the Egyptian theology and things like that come into play in this, and it's just a really fun, energizing read that's not just romance based. It's got a lot of plot, and I like that. Fable. Now, this book series has my heart, absolutely. It's one of the book series that got me back into reading after grad school, but this is a Finnish duology, and I love this book series. It's so good. again, chef's kiss. All of these books are chef's kiss. I mean to stop that, I'm sorry. But chef's kiss of a book. It's quick, it's easy. Our main character, Fable, was put on an island when she was 15 because she had just lost her mom, and her dad, who's the king of the pirates, kind of set her out there to kind of like learn by herself, get into the world, and like know the harshness, right? And so that's kind of where we start off here. She is kind of making ends meet. She's still pretty young. I think she's like 18, 19 at this point in the story, but it kind of chronicles kind of what happened in between there. And we do kind of follow a love story, but she does have some type of magical power that's super, super rare and it's super coveted. So I think that's part of why she was like kind of hidden away and like things like that. It is a little bit of a romance story in here, but it's like a pirates of tales of finding out who she is and like all of the fun things, and it's just a wild ride. But it's so, so fun. It's thrilling, it's enjoyable. Again, pretty quick pace. There's a little bit of romance to it, but it's got pirates, it's fun, it's found family, it's her finding out who she is, and it's an enjoyable read. Slaying the Vampire Chronicler. Now let me tell you, this was one of my all-time favorite reads of last year, but honestly one of my all-time favorite reads maybe of all time. Like, it's top 10 for sure. So this is set in the Crowns of Nyxia series. Again, I have read The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but you do not need to read that in order to understand this book at all. I think it's just set in that world. I don't know about the timeline or anything like that. But again, you don't have to read that series first. This is a standalone, and it is a complete standalone. You don't have to worry about any of the other characters from any other books since it's set in that world. But this is such a good book. This one is a little bit heavier romance, but still more plot-based. Our main character, so she has been like raised up within this like goddess cult type thing, right? And in her religion, she is supposed to give up her eyesight, and so I think she still has eyes, but it's always covered in like, they put like poison in her eyes so like she can't see, but she can see in other ways. Like she can still see shapes and stuff, but the best way to describe it and like how I see it in my mind when I read this book is, you know, in K-pop Demon Hunters, the Han Moon, and like how, or like echolocation, stuff like that. That is how she kind of sees. And so she's like the super assassin, kind of sorceress kind of gal. And so in this world, the vampires have come from a different realm and they're trying to take over pretty much all of the land. So she is sent to go and meet this head of the vampires and figure out like how to get to him, pretty much usurp him and take him down. But as she gets there, tries to insert herself into like the vampire lord army and things like that. Of course, she's kind of discovered, but she then also discovers maybe all that she was raised to believe isn't so true. And so she kind of has a bit of an identity crisis, and that's kind of where we follow from there. Again, it's like a religious cult, but then it's all these vampires that are coming into play, and the plots and the twists and turns. Like I was shocked by this story, but it's a beautiful romance. It's a fun, entertaining, and it's just a standalone. So this is a quick read. Like you can get it done either in an afternoon or you can spread it out a couple of days. But this is fun. It's engaging. It makes you enjoy the world so much, like you don't want to leave it. And it's just a fun, like good read to also like get you ready for summer reading too. Tress of the Emerald Sea. Now this one is so cute. I've never read Brandon Sanderson before, but this book is so fun. It follows our main character Tress, and she kind of has her first love, and he has gone off because of his father's wishes in order to go and get married, and he doesn't want to get married. He wants to go and marry Tress. Somewhere along the way, he gets lost, and she kind of takes it upon herself to go and save him. And that's kind of where the story ensues. It's a bit of a piratey type thing. It does have a little bit more sci-fi elements to it, but it is still very much fantasy. But Tress, our main character, she's like 18, 19 at this point, and I love her as a character. She's described as so ordinary. She's like extraordinary, and I absolutely believe that. She's also one of my all-time favorite female main characters of a book. Truly, I love her character. I love her development through the book. And just how she, like, again, she's from this very, very small island. Nobody around from the island is supposed to leave. But in this storyline and on this world, like, the seas are made of, like, spores and sand, not water. So there's lots of different, like, fantastical elements that kind of go into that. And, like, how they navigate that is really interesting. But, like, how Tress really steps up as a person and, like, finds out who she is, I think that's, like, the best part of the story. It's not really, like, a romance at all. Like, it's romance kind of based, but there's no, like, a bunch of kissing or smut or anything like that, right? Like, it's just the story of her trying to get to her love and find him and make sure he's okay. It's cute, it's really heartwarming, but it's also a really fun, enjoyable adventure. And you just want to like grab her and be like, trust, I'm here for you, let's go, let's do this thing. Like it's really enjoyable and it's fun. I really like almost all of the side characters I thoroughly enjoyed. But again, the storyline, it was just easy. It was easy to get through, it was fun, it was entertaining. There's a lot of things that like you literally just laugh out loud at some of the, like the ridiculousness, but it wasn't like stupid, dumb, like it was really funny fun, if that makes any sense at all. But I really enjoyed this book. It's perfect for summer, kind of piratey-esque vibes, and yeah. Assistant to the Villain. Now this is not a finished series, just to let you know, just to put it out there. Be wary if you're wanting a finished series, no, but this is a fun, super fun, lighthearted read. Now this is our main character is about Evie. Now Evie lives in a small town in like this regular fantasy, like cottage-esque vibes, right? But she's having a really hard time finding a job. And so she happens to just kind of be out in like the mysterious woods that you're not really supposed to be out in. And she kind of happens upon meeting the villain of the story, right? And he pretty much ends up offering her a job. And the only way to describe kind of what happens is she ends up pretty much being the secretary for this villain. Like, this is the only way to kind of describe her job. And I think it's so fun because it's not just her and him, right? It's actually like this huge enterprise. Like, he's got a ton of different like employees and things like that, like they're working for him, and it's really enjoyable. And there's a little bit of a like romance to this, like between maybe her and the villain, maybe her and somebody else. And again, lower on the plot line, this is just a really fun, lighthearted read. It's not like super plot heavy or anything like that. I'm not gonna say there's a lot of fluff in it. It's just really lighthearted and fun. We're just kind of following along Evie, how she is the assistant to the villain, and it's enjoyable. It's fun. It's a like quicker paced read, but it's like it literally make you sit there. It's like cozy, heartwarming feelings, and it's hilarious. I was like, also the frog in this, absolutely hilarious. I believe. You might prove me wrong, but I think there's something more to do with the frog as you get further on the series, but it's cute, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's very heartwarming, it's cozy vibes, but again, still great summer because it's just so light of a book and it's easy to get through and read within a few days. Guarded Treasure. Now this one is on Kindle Unlimited. It is a standalone. Now if you loved the movie The Mummy from like the 1990s with Brendan Fraser, you're going to absolutely love this book. It is so fun. It's our main characters in like 1920s, 1930s-esque vibe, and she is trying to look for like the Cleopatra's curse, and she ends up finding this other rough and tumble guy, and they kind of travel together and learn all these secrets. There is a bit more of like a magical fantasy element to this, but it's fun, it's enjoyable. There's a little bit of spice to it. There is, I wouldn't say it's super romance heavy, but of course just a little bit of romance thrown in there, but it is pretty plot heavy as well, like getting to the point of like the magic and what they're looking for and like the history and like they're traveling to Egypt and like all the other things that are kind of going on in the background, right? But it's enjoyable, it's fun, it's quick paced, also great for summerween if you're into summerween. But again, it's just fun, very reminiscent of the movie The Mummy, and it's just an enjoyable quick read. All right, this last one is for my romance girlies who kind of like animals. Just putting that out there. If that's not your thing, you're not gonna like this book, but it's like a small portion of this book. But Bull Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon. Now Ruby Dixon did also write the Ice Planet Barbarian series, which I loved. Like, so off the wall, random, but loved. This is kind of off the wall and random, but such a bigger fantasy element to it. I love it. So in this world, like thousands of years ago, there used to be like all of these like ancient and like magical beings. Like they imbued magic with everything, like even as simple as a teaspoon, right? Well, now there's no more magic in the world. It's kind of been outlawed. And so all of these archaeologists kind of go down and do all the digging, and like they're within these guilds and they're trying to get all of these like items, and they're supposed to have like these magical abilities, which they're still able to use in today's world, but only like the lords and ladies, right? Like the higher ups, not like the lower ranking people. So our main character, she's from a really well-off family, and I believe she's like the only one, she's the title holder, but her family's like estate is in like ruins, and she's pretty much like completely bankrupt. So she kind of takes it upon herself, like, hey, I'm gonna save my family. But she's like really bookish. Of course, she grew up in a very lavish lifestyle. So her and her, I think she's her handmaiden or like lady's maid or something of that sort. They take themselves and they go to like this main town of like where they learn how to become archaeologists, like for all these magical objects. But in this world and time frame, like it's not very looked upon that like women are allowed to do this, right? Like they're kind of like shoved off, looked away. day, and that's kind of where it starts. And also in this world, not centaurs, mentors are a big part of it, right? Because mentors are like, they have like special abilities, they can see in the dark, they are super strong, like workhorses, right? But they're very like lower class compared to like the white men, pretty much, right? That's how they're looked upon. And so our main character is there, but she needs to join a guild, but nobody will allow her to because she's a woman and she has no proper guardian. It's kind of like Victorian-esque vibes with this one too, right? Like, you need to have a proper guard, young lady. What do you mean you're unmarried? So she kind of goes into this marriage convenience with this mentor, and it kind of goes from there. He kind of teaches her the trade and like puts her through all the training. Of course, she's a very bookish person and she's not used to all this physical work that she has to do, but she is so knowledgeable. So she knows a lot of different things that most of these other archaeologists have no idea of, because she's been able to read her whole life, and she's like had access to all of the wonderful libraries and things like that. And that's kind of where it goes there. But it's super fun. I really like it, not just because the romance is cute, but I like the way the world is built. I think it's so interesting. I've not read something like this before. Like, they're hunting for magical artifacts, and like the way to go about it, like an archaeological dig, but they have to be careful with all these different magical items that come into play, but then also all the politics of like this old man, like white old man's world, right? And these women are trying to break into it. It's super fun. It's interesting, and it's just really enjoyable of a read. And again, it's a quick read. And if you're wanting some romance but wanting fantasy for the summer, there you go. But that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know which book you added to your TBR. Personally, I hope you added them all. I have no regrets suggesting all these books to you if you added them all to your TBR. You're welcome. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Happy reading!